Okay, good afternoon. I have been wanting to show off this small little Mame collection that I've had going now. I guess the longest is for 2 years. This is the field maple back here in the back. He's been around for 2 years. And I wanted to kind of do an update on this middle one, which was from a video that I did back at the end of March, showing how you can do a wicking system on a Mame Bonsai in order to have it watering itself. So I have a couple different trees and I wanted to show how they're doing. Right now is the 2nd of July. So they've been now for, I guess all of April, May, and June. They've been sitting wicking. The field maple little forest thing going on right here. I also have a larch over here. This is a Katoni aster, and these two are not wicking, but I put them up here because well, one, because they're Mame, I wanted to show them off, and two, because these are both sitting under an automatic watering system instead of being on a wick. So they are being watered twice a day from a dripper system, and just showing that that is another option. And then I also wanted to show possible display options for these things. And that was sort of the one thing that was a drawback for me when seeing how people were putting their mames in sand beds, was that the roots would grow out of the bottom of the pot and would grow down into the sand bed, and you would have 5, 6, 7, however many mame you could fit into your sand bed. That didn't really give you the option to take the tree out, display it, put it back. I guess you could, but it was not as convenient as having it sitting on a wicking cup or whatever it is that you want to call it. So I wanted to just show how they're doing. This is the little field maple here. You can see he's sitting on a wick. And how I have this organized is very easy. This is just a container that had hummus in it. I cut a little hole into it, and then what I found out is pretty critical was, well, I don't have to take it off. I put a little hole right here into the side, because what's happening, this sits outside on the bench, and whenever it rains, it fills with water, or whenever the dripper system runs, it fills up with water. The entire thing was filling up all the way up to the rim. That means the bottom of the pot was sitting in water all of the time, and I was getting algae growth and other kind of stuff on the pot, which is not a huge deal, but it was keeping the bottoms way too wet, because like really the bottom of the pot was submerged in water. So I made the little hole, and now you see that the top stays dry. You can water directly into the top of it. For most of the stuff out here in the garden where I keep sort of my trees in development, all of those I'm using a time release fertilizer, which I'm planning to make a video about how I feed all my trees, not because I'm a professional at it, but because I want to show you what I'm doing, and I hope that the people who are professionals will tell me what I'm doing wrong. So I usually have, I kind of remove most of it, the little balls for extended release fertilizer sitting on top of here. So whenever it rains, they eat. The water that washes through goes into the pot. And even though as it rains, water filters out, it still keeps a little bit of the nutrient down in the water reservoir for them, so they can continue to have access to nutrients. This is the little larch that I've been training as well. He's doing quite well. I've had to do he had a huge shoot coming off the top here. I cut him back and a couple other little pieces, but he's thriving well. I was concerned about him being too wet from the wick, but apparently he likes it. Same situation over here. He just sits down into the water reservoir and wicks. This is, it's another little pine tree, and he's on a big wick. I do not keep him on a water reservoir. I put him on a wick because I typically display him, let's see here, on this stone. So this is how he is presented, and I coil up that underneath, and he sits directly on the stone. Now I have him at my private bench back at my house, and I just have a little dripper that sits on him, and he gets drip fed twice a day to keep him nice and wet. Again, concerned because of the pine tree with making them too wet, but he's had really good growth this summer, or in the springtime rather. Seems to be doing really well, and for his feeding process I'm fertigating him, which is a fertilizer and irrigation at the same time. Again, I'm going to discuss that kind of stuff in a later video about what I'm doing, because I want to know if I'm doing something incorrect. And I've been really wanting to show this. Look how beautiful that thing looks. I think that's so cool. This has just grown up by itself. I did not plant that. I don't know where it came from. This is the Katoni aster from the demonstration that I did back in March. He's got a lot of new growth. He has some yellowing in there, but a lot of my trees are having that from the Katoni. I'm not sure. It's been super hot. He shouldn't have had a problem because he's on a wick, but he's massively overgrown. But the colors and everything were so beautiful that I did not want to cut him down. So I'm letting him go, but you can see he's doing quite well. Also, we have a lot of growth coming off of him. And then I'm gonna try and like move some things around here. This is a little Juniper, which is growing in Mame, and he is being watered not by a wick, but by a drip system coming from above. Twice a day he's watered, and he also has time release fertilizer on him. Just a very few, little small amount, and he's doing quite well. He's got a lot of growth on him. I'm very excited. Eric from Bonsai inspired me to get into doing Mame, as I mentioned before. Yeah, these are some of my trees that I have going on so far. Another little guy here, he's also sitting out here on the bonsai bench being drip fed with time release fertilizer inside of there. And then I have back here, this is one I have not shown yet. This is typically kept on the table on my porch outside. This is a field maple growing on a slab. The slab is wicked, and if you look at my video, I think it's titled Self-Wicking Moss Garden or something like this, you see exactly the process for how I build this box and what's inside. And so that is how the tree is typically displayed. And I also, while we're doing this video, I wanted to show a different way of how you can display. This is actually the box from the moss garden. You can see the water reservoirs inside of there, right here. So you can build a box like this. Again, reference that video if you're curious about how to do this. It's very simple. But then what's really cool is, and what I really like, this is why I'm doing the wicks over the sand beds. You can take these Mame and actually drop them into the holes, and then you can have them sitting up here on display while they are wicking. Then get him down in there. It's just for a demonstration, but that would sit up there like this. You could have this one over here, do a little bit of an asymmetrical design. But the cool thing is if you wanted to get in and build yourself a box, something like that, then you can display your Mame on a box versus having to display your Mame in a sand bed. So I think that's really a super cool look, something that I was really trying to focus on with creating the wicking Mames. So I was really hoping to find a way to be able to display the Mame and also continue to have them watered. You can make these boxes super easy. The trees will just sit right on there. They're able to drink all of the time. I really love that. You can bring them into like a covered space, so on your porch or something like this, and the entire thing is being watered continuously. So anyway, long enough video. We're going to go ahead and cut out here, but these are This is not the way to do it, it's just another way to do it. Hopefully this inspires other people to give it a try, and yeah, wish you all the best.